Side grades in TF2 usually fall under two categories, good and not so good. Take for instance the direct hit. This rocket launcher specializes in single target elimination and anti-air capabilities, while struggling with crowd control. This is a good example of specialization. Side grades are supposed to thrive in one aspect of the game and struggle in others. That's what makes them side grades. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have something like the Southern Hospitality, which on paper seems like an okay weapon. It's got a situational upside of bleed on hit with a situational downside of more fire vulnerability. And it's so similar to stock that I wouldn't blame you for thinking it's a reskin. Then you have weapons like the Quick Fix, an unlockable medi-gun for the medic that doesn't hit as hard as any of his brothers like stock or the Kritzkrieg, but play your cards right and your opponents will beg you to switch off. The Quick Fix is very simple. You get a faster healing rate compared to stock at 40%, with the added bonus of a 10% faster Uber build rate. This faster healing rate also applies to crit heals. Crit heals are when a player that hasn't taken damage in the last 15 or so seconds is healed at a much faster rate than normal. With all other medi-guns, this number jumps from 25 HP per second to 72. However, with the Quick Fix, 34 HP per second leaps to an astonishing 100 HP per second, fully healing most classes in the game in less than a second, and tankier classes in less than 3. All this doesn't come without a downside. This comes at a cost of 50% less overheal for your patients and no invulnerability on the Uber charge. This is where most players go wrong. They use the Quick Fix as if it were stock Uber, obviously perform worse, and throw it away to rot in their backpack forever. Thinking of the Quick Fix like you would think of the direct hit is a good place to start. Not the sentry part, don't think about it. The direct hit struggles with big crowds of players, and so does the Quick Fix. The direct hit shines at team fights in which you can take out a single target fairly quickly. The Quick Fix shines at fast team skirmishes with its versatile Uber. You see where I'm going with this? Quick Fix is most powerful when you use it in the right conditions, and those conditions are fast happening team fights where 5 or less players are fighting each other on any given part of the map. Now, that was a lot of words, I know. So let me break it down even further. The Quick Fix's Uber charge grants 300% faster heal rate, at around 100 health a second, and complete immunity to movement impairing effects. See the Natasha, Air Blast, or Explosions. This is perfect for those team fights that don't last very long and make a big impact. Additionally, the 10% Uber build rate works in tandem with the 50% less overheal that will grant you lightning fast Ubers to play around with. If you didn't know, medics build Uber charge much more slowly when healing an overhealed patient. However, since the Quick Fix doesn't ever reach maximum overheal, Uber is always charging at the maximum rate on top of the 10% boost. This means that Ubers can be disposable with the Quick Fix. If your team has taken a lot of damage in a short time, you don't need to wait until the right moment to pop your Uber. Just activate and get everyone back to full health as quickly as possible. The Quick Fix shines at sustainability, and it can keep teammates alive longer than most medi-guns. Except for the Vaccinator, but that's for evil people, don't use that. And it can sustain a healthy team much more easily as well. The faster heal rate and constant patch Ubers work incredibly well with other medi-guns. Speaking of, team play is one of the Quick Fix's most powerful niches. Medics are a rare sight in casual now more than ever. So if you see a medic in your lobby struggling to keep up the front lines, give him a helping hand. You may be tempted to use stock, crits, or god forbid the Vaccinator as a second medic, but let me persuade you otherwise. Every other medi-gun besides the Quick Fix can heal up to maximum overheal, and while this sounds good on paper, it becomes redundant in practice. One medic is more than capable of overhealing the team when everyone is healthy, and you'd be doing more of a disservice to your other medic since you'd be stealing his Uber build rate. 2 medics healing the same target cuts the Uber build rate in half, meaning it will take twice as long to get any Ubers off for you and your other medic. Instead, be a team player and use the Quick Fix. Since you can't fully overheal, you can never interrupt your other medic's build rate, and you can only help him reach a full Uber charge. As a Quick Fix medic, your job is to pick up the slack of any other medics that may be on your team. In long, drawn-out matches like payload or control points, your team is going to have multiple different assault arms branching out from the main choke to alternate pathways. It's your job to work in tandem with your other medics to keep everyone healthy and, most importantly, alive. Since you can heal much faster than any other medi-gun, you can heal your teammates from critically low health to full HP and leave the overhealing, and by proxy uber build, to your other medics with other medi-guns. You can also heal teammates outside of combat up to half or so HP and leave the rest to your other medics so you can focus back on spreading the healing to the rest of your team. The real magic of the quick fix's uber shows up when you use it in tandem with other team abilities. Things that have a bigger impact like a soldier's banners or another medic's uber charge, to smaller things like a group of players splashed with Jorati or Madmilk. In this clip here, I have an uber charge ready and I'm waiting for my soldier to pop his battalion's backup. Once he does, I also pop my uber. The damage resistance combined with the fast healing ensures that my team wins the interaction. Additionally, I make the choice to split the uber between my teammates to make sure everyone is healthy for the push. With other ubers, it's not recommended to split, but with the quick fix, you can swiftly flash your enemies with 100 HP for a second and immediately switch to another target. In the second clip, I know that there is a sentry around the corner. I preemptively pop my uber on the heavy at first, then I intentionally get closer to the sentry so that it targets me, while swapping the uber to the demo so that he can finish it off. I'm just kidding, I made that up, this was a panic pop. Now, back to skirmishes. If you're like me, you like to play fast-paced game modes like 5CP and King of the Hill. Victories in these game modes heavily depend on which team is more coordinated and collected, and fights in these game modes are less drawn out and happen relatively quickly. This is where the quick fix thrives. The faster uber and heal rate come together to grant you lightning-fast ubers that you can use to throw your team's weight around and bully your opponents. Most classes can't outdamage the quick fix's 100 HP per second uber charge, save a heavy at point blank range. This can come in handy when making a multi-pronged push in which you and your uber patient push from one side and the rest of your team from another. Your opponents most likely won't be able to juggle 4 players from one side and 2 players with hellishly hasty heals from another. This can force them to give up the control point or retreat, giving you and your team much more ground. Of course, no Achilles is without his heal, and the quick fix's heal is enormous. Get it? Because it's heal, and you. While you're sitting comfy with 100 HP per second, you're still vulnerable to dying if your opponent's burst damage is high enough. Things like crits, headshots, backstabs, sticky traps, or even enough focus fire are enough to snuff out the quick fix's flame. This is why you should treat the quick fix with the utmost respect. Think of it like a sports car. In its element, on the racetrack, it shines and takes you for a ride. But on the normal road and highway, it can't really perform at its best and leaves a lot to be desired. The quick fix is a sports car and you should take it to the racetrack. Believe it or not, the quick fix can also hold its own in MVM. While there are much better options for medi-gun usage like the Kritzkrieg, the quick fix is nothing to scoff at with the right upgrades. The faster base healing charges the medic's shield upgrade more quickly and allows you to block more spam to protect your team. Purchasing Overheal Expert and Healing Mastery effectively negates its only downside and increases the quick fix's healing even more. This allows your teammates to be basically immortal if you keep everyone topped off. But let's say you made a goof. You didn't heal your soldier enough and he died. It's not a problem. The faster healing and healing mastery makes revives practically instant and allows you to brush off death like it's the common cold. You'll definitely want to spend some credits on Canteen Expert as well. Faster healing is great and all, but sometimes you really need the damage of crit canteens, or sometimes you really just need to be invulnerable. The quick fix is not the best medi-gun by a long shot, nor is it even the best side grade. However, learning to better utilize side grades like the quick fix can help spice up some gameplay of an experienced player like myself, or give a newer player something to try out and experiment with. The quick fix is that side grade. It perfectly encapsulates what it means to be a side grade and performs very well when used correctly. Finally, it's not meant to be a game-changing, stalemate-breaking, insta-win weapon. Rather, it's a little band-aid you can apply to your team when you or they make mistakes. A quick fix, if you will. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really hope you learned something about the quick fix since it's my second favorite medi-gun. If you did, leave a comment down below. Or if you think the quick fix sucks because it's not stock, or your dad works for Valve and you can get me banned, or something array 7, if any of that, go ahead and tell me in the comments. While you're there, consider hitting the like and sub button, and share this video with someone you think could benefit from it. Once again, thank you so much for watching until the end, and generic YouTube outro.
I would grab her if I met Phyllis in real life. I would grab her by the and I would sniff my fingers. I would sniff my fingers after I'm done. After I'm done grabbing Phyllis by the and I would take a good long whiff. Because I know that Phyllis on Showdown stinks really good. I know it's really hot in the bayou, it's really humid. She probably sweats a lot in her outfit. Probably stinks. She probably doesn't shave. All that sweat and stink marinating in her skin and her hair. I know it stinks. I know that thing be stankin'. I know she doesn't wash.
I hate this.
I know it stinks good.